The shiny showroom of Aerolux private jets was like a dreamland for super rich people. Cool, fancy jets were all over the floor, and each one cost millions of dollars. Salespeople in neat suits walked around, helping customers who looked powerful and important. Brian Morris, a black guy in his mid-40s, stepped inside. He wore a plain black turtleneck, jeans, and a leather jacket. He walked in super calm and confident, checking out the jets with a smart look. Even though his clothes weren't fancy, he acted like someone who makes big choices all the time. While he looked at a sleek white G550 Gulfstream jet, a tall salesman named Richard Parker came up to him. Richard's big smile didn't quite hide that he wasn't sure about Brian. "Can I help you?" Richard asked, sounding fake nice. Brian nodded. "I want to buy a jet. Can I see the details on this one?" Richard raised an eyebrow and looked Brian up and down. "Sir, these jets aren't for rent. They're super expensive planes for people who are serious about buying." Brian smiled a little. "I know what they are. That's why I'm here." Richard laughed under his breath and folded his arms. "Sure. Just so you know, these start at $60 million. Maybe I can show you something cheaper?" Brian's face stayed calm, but inside he was already annoyed. He'd dealt with this before, people judging him by his clothes instead of who he really was. "I don't want something cheap. I want the best," Brian said smoothly. "So, are you going to show me the details, or should I find someone else?" Richard laughed and shook his head. "Look, dude, now we don't just give out info to people who are only looking. These jets are for super rich people who can actually buy them." Brian sighed. "And why do you think I can't buy one?" Richard smirked. "No offense, but guys like you don't just walk in and spend millions on a jet. Our customers are big bosses, world leaders, and billionaires." Then he waved a hand at Brian's outfit. Brian let out a quiet laugh and pulled out his black titanium CEO card. It had the logo of Morris Aviation Group, the huge company he owned that made billions of dollars. Richard's face went white when he saw the name. Brian Morris. It hit him right away. The billionaire boss of Morris Aviation, one of the top companies that makes and rents private jets. Brian wasn't just rich enough to buy any jet in the room. He owned the whole place. Richard's big ego disappeared fast. "Mr. Morris, I didn't know it was you," he said. Brian raised his hand to stop him. "No, you didn't even try to figure out who I was. You judged me by how I looked, and now you're freaking out trying to fix it." Richard stuttered. "Sir, I'm really sorry. I didn't know." Brian let out a sigh. "That's the issue, Richard. You acted like I didn't belong here just because I didn't match the picture in your head. How many people who might have bought something have you ignored because of your attitude?" The whole showroom got super quiet. Other workers and customers stared, totally shocked. Right then, the regional manager who'd been watching from far away rushed over. "Mr. Morris, we're so sorry about this mix-up," he said. Brian turned to him. "Fire him." Richard's face went pale. "Sir, please," he begged, but Brian's voice stayed calm and strong. "You judged a customer by their looks instead of being nice. We don't need that kind of vibe in my dealership." The manager nodded right away. "Got it, sir." Security showed up and walked a stunned Richard out of the showroom. Brian turned back to the jet he'd been checking out and smiled. "Now, can someone who knows what they're doing show me the details?" One of the best salespeople hurried over. "Here's the thing, Mr. Morris. By the end of the day, Brian bought 2 brand new Gulfstream jets. But even cooler than that, he made sure every customer from then on, no matter what they look like, would be treated with respect." If you like this story, share it with your family and friends and hit that subscribe button for more stories like this.